The number of U.S. businesses owned by Hispanics has grown in recent years, from 2.3 million to about 3.3 million from 2007 to 2012.
And this month we are celebrating Houston's Hispanic heritage, and that heritage is very diverse. Marcelino Benito shows us all the different communities that come together to make up Houston's rich Hispanic culture within our city.
Walk around Houston and you're just as likely to hear Espanol instead of English on the street. Houston proudly boasts it's home to the country's third largest Hispanic population, only behind New York and LA. And the Hispanic population here is diverse. We literally come from everywhere. My mom came from Colombia, my dad came from Spain. That's just two of the more than 20 Hispanic countries, territories, and cultures that give this city life. The U.S. Census Bureau says there are nearly 1.1 million Hispanics in Houston. That's nearly 46% of the entire population. The biggest community by far is Mexican, with 711,166 people. That's more than 2/3 of Houston's entire Hispanic community. That remaining 1/3 just as vibrant, with huge numbers of Central Americans from places like El Salvador, Honduras, and Guatemala. There are more than 14,000 Cubans, nearly 16,000 Puerto Ricans, and even more Venezuelans with nearly 19,000. Every Spanish-speaking country in the world from Europe to Latin America is somehow represented in this corner of Texas, proof that Houston is already a diverse Hispanic city. And before long, experts say it'll be a majority Hispanic one too. Marcelino Benito, KHOU 11 News.